Hello everybody, welcome to our fabulous new Two Red Robins Flower of the Month. Now, I hope that you're all going to thoroughly love this one. I have to admit it is one of my favourites. I have got a sweet spot for roses. My absolute favourite is sweet peas and sunflowers, but the roses do hold a particular place in my heart, mainly because of all the different varieties. You get some beautiful scented ones, and also the meaning of each one. The colour changes, it means something different. Do you know, sometimes I think, wish I was back in the Victorian era. You could send some secret coded messages, couldn't you? Because they talked the language of flowers. So here we have our beautiful new Flower of the Month rose, and it is sensational. I just love it. So to start off with, in this inspirational video, we're going to talk through and around the Minecraft Studio. Okay, there are going to be additional videos that you can watch on YouTube that will go along with this. So in this one, I'm going to do my backing papers and give you some inspiration. The next video will be me using those backing papers with the scan and cut, and then finally putting all of it together in the last video that will be using the dies. So let's go over to the computer and I'll show you around the new Flower of the Month. Now on here, I have on this little scale down here on the right, you can actually make it smaller and bigger. I like to reduce it a little bit, and I also keep the tape measure and the grid. Just helps me with my positioning. And then over here we've got the scene building, you've got reflections. So if I click on the reflections, look here. Now, one of the wonderful things that I think about having everything together and being able to have Minecraft Studio, SVG files and your dies all in one place is that you get all the colorways. Look how beautiful these are. Okay, you're getting all of this. So these are the printable reflections. So you're getting all of the colorways, which I think is just phenomenal. Okay, so let's move all of those out the way together with the smaller version. So you get the little one, and you also get there we go, the Build a Bouquet as well in all of those colours. And also remember, in Minecraft Studio, when you're working with the elements, you can also flip, rotate and do so many other things with it, which is phenomenal. In addition to your scene building and the reflections, you also get access to the digi-stamps. Now, bringing this on, I'm going to show you this one just as a for instance. Now, if you're going on the watercolour journey with Stephanie or the painting like Stephanie does, some of our digital imagery is wonderful for you to print out and then use as a template, because you just want to watercolour it, especially if you're printing it onto maybe 80 GSM, and then you use Stephanie's graphite paper that you can get off our website, and then transfer the image onto your watercolour and then actually paint it, and then you get the leaves, etc. So everything that you need to actually be able to do that, or just print it off onto your standard papers and also colour it in from there. So it depends on how you want to use it. And also these are then layers. So you can add texture and put things and make your own backing papers, was one of my favourites. Now, something that we haven't had, as I remember we've had before, are now we're getting these lovely texture papers. Now, I'm just going to zoom like that. In fact, I'll zoom at the bottom here. Let me zoom. So look at that. That's phenomenal. And you're getting 8 colourways. Now, each one of these 8 colourways are going to work beautifully with the colours of the florals that we've given you. However, you do get, I'm going to zoom back out. Okay, you do get a lovely match. So you get a light and a dark, okay, which is brilliant. So let me take those two away. And so you've got a light and a dark in that one, you've got a light and a dark in that one, and a light and a dark in that one. So creating your mats and layers, you've got the lovely colour hues that are going to all work together, which is brilliant. And then obviously, because you've got these two lovely cream ones, that then gives you a third colourway. So maybe you've got the light and the dark green, but that cream is going to work, and that one is going to work. So having the two neutrals in there is again giving you more flexibility to create your projects. Now, I've actually done some printing. I'm going to go through making what I'm going to make for you on the screen, and then I'm going to show you what I've printed, because I think seeing it in real life really helps. I'm just going to, it's a bit sensitive, there we go. So you've got a bit more visual. So now we've got these textures, you can now make different scenes with a backing paper that's already on there, and also then fade out what you're using. So this particular paper is the first layer. Let's say if you're making a rice paper, that's the first layer. We're giving you a lovely starting point to then start building from. So let's take that away and go to the seam building. Now we have got some beautiful, beautiful elements for you to use. Now the colourway that I've chosen is number 3. So I'm going to pick pretty much most of the number 3s. And I love that we get it labelled. Some of them I am going to use, some of them I'm not. So I'm just going to drag all the number 3s, because that's the colourway that I've chosen, onto here. So this is Wild Rose, that one's a 3. And then the leaves. Let me just go a bit further down. And then we've got the full, that is the actual die itself, okay? So on here, what we're actually working with is we've got the die, the whole, and then all the other elements that are broken down are the build a bouquet elements, okay? Now, this little circle at the top is your rotatey. So that turns everything around like that. Oh, I went a bit quick. Your side pieces, so centre sides, top and bottom, actually stretch out the image, okay? So maybe you're wanting something that looks like that if you're creating a background, which is fine. Up here across the top, you've got your undo. So never think that it can't be changed. You absolutely can, but it only goes back about 10 clicks, okay? And then your corner ones are your ratio, okay? So that will keep it in perfect ratio to what it is. Now, I'm loving this artwork on this particular rose because it reminds me of looking in botanical books. You know, it's just beautiful, beautiful imagery. So what I actually did is I started building myself a bit of a bouquet. So I'm bringing this one on. I'm going to make it bigger, and I need to bring it to the front. So whenever you're working in Minecraft Studio, it firstly has to be highlighted. You need to see the boxes around the image that you're working on, and then your right click opens up this fabulous drop box. In the drop box, you've got the general, you know, these are the general purpose, all, you know, what you need all the time. So you've got cut, copy and paste. In your order, when you hover over anything that's got an extra little black arrow, brings up other little boxes. So you can bring it to the front, send it to the back, or maybe you only want to bring it forwards one step or send it backwards one step. So here, I'm going to bring it forwards. Not enough, so I'm going to highlight it again. Okay, then right click, order, bring forwards. There, oh, no, quite, because I need that stem behind. Same again, order, bring forwards as it worked this time. If I leave it there, I can actually see when it actually brings it forwards. Right click, order, wait for the drop box. I know we brought quite a few things on, so it might actually be quicker if I click on that one and go to order and send to back. Ta-da! There we go. That now, this one overlaps, which is what I want. So I'm going to use my little rotate and just turn it askew a little tiny bit. Then I'm going to bring in the larger one and sit it on where I've got my, where I've got my bottom of my branch. I want to tuck that in, Okay, so even if I bring it down and just hide it behind that greenery, I've got extra. Okay, now I've got this piece. Now I want a couple of these, so I'm going to right click, copy, right click, paste. I've now got two. I'm going to rotate it a little bit, make this one a little bit smaller, okay? And then I want to tuck that one in. So again, if it's not in the right, you can send backwards, right click, order, send backwards. Sometimes you can get away with this if you overlap, because at the end of the day, nobody would actually, oh, there we go, send it backwards. Brilliant. So that's now in there. I can click on it and make it a little bit bigger because these are the older shoots. Then I've got this one. I'm going to make it a bit smaller. I want to bring it in, rotate it so it's a little bit more, because plants don't grow in straight lines, do they? And again, go into my order function, just send it to the back so it tucks in. Lovely. And then I have these other pieces. So I've got some lovely buds. All of these, I am going to make them all just a tiny bit bigger because it is just that bit easier for you to be able to see on the screen, okay, until I've got them situated where I want them. Okay, so click on that one, order, bring to front, and then make it bigger so I can hide some of my workings if I needed to. Okay, can utch that one up a little bit. Lovely. And then I have got my leaves, so I've still got places to tuck in. I don't particularly want that one, so I'm going to delete it because I don't need it. This one I'm going to order and send to the back because that can now tuck in. I can now make it a little bit smaller because remember these are the buds. This one, rotate, and I'm going to tuck in, and again order, send to back because it's now tucked in, and because it's a bud I can make it a little bit smaller. And then this one I'm now going to rotate, again go to my order and send to back, and now I can tuck this one in here, make it a little bit smaller. Oops, I want that one. Move that out the way so I can grab hold of that, like so, and then bring this one in here. So now I've made myself a really pretty bouquet, okay? I can start building up my leaves. Yeah, rotate that around and put that in there. I'm really happy with all of that. So the next thing I need to do is group it all together, because at the moment, all those are now entities of their own separate ideas. So I'm going to click off with my left click and drag, hold it down and drag a box over everything. Now you can see everything is highlighted. Up at the top, I'm going to press group. Now, fingers crossed, it all moves as one, which is fabulous. Now, this is where I then started doing my printing. So if we come across to here again and go to textures, you can now add in your textures. Move that to one side, like so. So you've got this lovely texture. If I click on the whole thing and go to order and bring to front, I have now made my own fabulous backing paper. If I want to, that is a whole paper on its own, which is beautiful. Or I can now make it really small and I can have it something of a journal page now. Yeah. Or I can go to my scene building and find, maybe, remember working with number 3. Go to the bottom, bring that in. So if I make that really small, I can rotate it a little bit, and I can have that at the top along with the bud, like so. I've now made myself a writing paper. So I could print that off on some lovely paper and I can actually write on this. So if I highlight this and then go to my effects and I go to my opacity, I can fade that out. Do the same with this, print that off, and isn't that lovely paper to write on? I just love this. So now let's come over to where I've actually done some printing and you will see how I've now manipulated. So if we come to the overhead, So first of all, I printed them off as plain sheets, okay? Are we all right, Lauren? Lauren's with me today. I will explain what's happening, bless you. Lauren's with me today, bless her, and she's learning all these new things. And she's just pressed a button, it did something, and she went, oh, and I thought, I better ask if everything's all right. So she's just pressed something and it did something spectacular, apparently. So you may see that, you may not. So I think that's quite amusing, that's quite funny. So here we have the colourway. So I love this. So for my project that I'm now going to go on and then film the other little videos for you, I've chosen these colourways. So I've done the printing. So I want the pale pink. I want the darker of the two. I've gone with the cream. Whoops. And I've gone with the green. Okay. So there's a reasoning behind me doing this, okay? So I've chosen these to make my project with if I want to create backing papers. So now I've got all the colour hues that are going to match beautifully with the colour that I've chosen, okay? So then I went ahead, I've done my imagery exactly as I've shown you on the computer, and that is it printed out just on basic white cardstock. However, look what happens when you print it out on the different colours. It's beautiful. So we've gone from, I love it like this. Don't get me wrong, I do love it. This is usable. I can now do, if I wanted to do something, maybe it's a menu, I would fade that out as we did with the effects and the opacity, and you could write over the top of this. This would make a really pretty rice paper. However, when you've then got backing papers or textures that you can work with, printing it on that is going to work fabulous. Then I thought, okay, changing the colour you print it on. Look how different it looks. Okay, so this one is lovely, soft and subtle with these. As soon as you bring in those dark lines, you automatically see the dark areas within the roses. So you're changing the feeling that it gives you when you're looking at it. Again, the cream, it's a softer tone. But then when I go with the mint, again, it picks up these stronger greens in the background and it brings it to life. So it's entirely up to you with your project where you take it. And then you don't have to have them portrait. Change it up. Make it landscape instead. Still beautiful. Score it down the middle. When you open that as a book page, right on this side, and you've got a beautiful image on this side, okay? Same again. When you're then looking at the different colourways, you could score down here or cut it in half because maybe you're working in A5 and you've now got an area that you can cut down and that's your backing paper. So nothing is ever wasted when you're working if you work it cleverly. Or I could have put it on the opposite side, scored down the middle, and that's my card made. I would take my white border off. Now the white border is there because our printer doesn't do edge-to-edge border. It always prints with a border. Bit frustrating, but that's how it is. Now, taking it a step further, I actually shrunk down my image, copy and pasted it, and put them extra in. Okay, so this is the same image, but I've used several of them. Again, stronger colourway changes the feel. Now on this one, again, thinking about, right, I want some A5 papers. So I shrunk it down on this side. I shrunk it even smaller and put it on this side. So I've made myself, cut it in half. I've got an A5 portrait and I've also got an A5 landscape with a little bit of imagery here, which I love. On this one, more of a journal page. So I've faded it out in the background, which you can still do. And then I've got an area here. Maybe it's a wedding album that I'm doing and I want photos on here. Maybe I could have rotated it a little bit more. It's entirely up to you. And then, like I suggested, if I score that down the middle, chop away my white areas, score it down the middle and fold it, that is a card ready to send. All you've got to do is either stamp or do a sentiment on there, and it's beautiful. I love working with my craft studio because it just keeps giving. So thank you very much for coming along and joining me. I hope that gives you a little bit of inspiration for the Minecraft Studio side of the Flower of the Month. It is stunningly beautiful. Make sure you click on all of our links, follow us on all our social media, give us a thumbs up on our YouTube as well when you're following this, and also make sure you highlight that little bell so you don't miss out on any of our future inspiration that's coming for you. So thank you for joining me for this Flower of the Month 2 Red Robins Highlight Crafts. So I'll see you all again real soon. You take care. Bye.
If you would like to see more from Highlight Crafts, make sure you click the like button. Subscribe by clicking the subscribe button below, and click the bell icon to receive notifications on all our future content. You can also click here to see our latest video, or click here to see more videos like this one.